Hi, everybody. My name is Sam Opsahl, and I work with Indiana Humanities as a program associate. On behalf of Indiana Humanities, I couldn't be more excited to welcome our viewers in for the special bonus content from the Waterways film tour. We are very proud of the Waterways films here at Indiana Humanities, both for the conversations that they've sparked and the success they are now finding in the local award circuit. I'm very thrilled to be here now and talking with one of the filmmakers of these films. Hannah, how are you doing?
I'm great. Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Okay, so we're going to go through a few questions here. First one I have for you. Where did the idea or inspiration for your film, The Net Makers, come from?
Yeah, I was actually approached by John Kay of Traditional Arts Indiana at IU about this story. He's been working with these gentlemen for, 10, 15 years. And so he's very familiar with their story. He's helped, had some things be written about them and also like brought them in their like samples of their work around to traditional arts showcases and things. So he's really been a champion for their story, and he approached me and said, hey, like, how would you be interested in like being the filmmaking part of telling this story? And I'm so grateful to him because I wouldn't have known about it otherwise. And he like gave us a foundation that was a really great starting point when going into filming.
I love that. Isn't John Kay the best?
He's the best.
Um, all right, so next question. What did the process of making this film look like for you? Did you learn anything as you're going through and doing the filming, editing, so on and so forth?
um this film was like just a great opportunity for me to continue to stretch my filmmaking abilities. I learned a lot from the film that I did before this film, 50 Little Birds, and then doing the Netmaker was much more along the lines of like a traditional documentary style. So it was really nice to step back into that and yeah, just experience the process of making a film about them. I love the challenge of making short films and making films within a time length because you really just have to kind of throw the audience into the story and hope that they'll feel invested in a much shorter time frame than like a feature length film. And everything that I've heard from people after they've watched it is that they like found themselves surprised that they got invested in their stories. So yeah, it was just a learning process from a filmmaking point of view for me. And yeah, I learned a lot about nets and fish net making and honestly a lot about, Southern Indiana history that I didn't know. So that was pretty cool.
I love that. So kind of then bouncing off of that point, how do you see the connections between filmmaking and the storytelling you can do in filmmaking? How do you see that connecting to our understanding of the environment and our relationships with the environment?
Wow. Lots to unpack in that question.
Sorry, yeah, that was a very multi-layered one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that filmmaking as a medium is so powerful, and we have a great opportunity with that medium to do really important work when it comes to capturing history and capturing people's stories. And obviously, the foundation of our history are like our individual stories and our stories as a collective. So, I really think that it's important that we utilize this medium to tell stories of individual people that are impacted by big topics. Like that's my approach to most of my filmmaking is how can I, tell, a big macro story in a micro way? Like how can I tell the story of climate change and invasive species in a way that is approachable for audiences? And I think in telling in Larry and Danny's stories, you can see the direct impact of things like climate change on their livelihoods. So yeah, I think it's all interwoven and connected, and it's honestly exciting. Like it's a great opportunity to tell stories that make an impact.
Yeah, I love that notion of like narrowing in as small as possible so then you can extrapolate out to talk about these really huge big ideas and make it relatable. And that was definitely one thing for me that I was struck by when I watched your film. So it's very cool that that was on your mind throughout the process as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, a few more questions for you. Have there been any updates to the story and the people that you documented in the film since you finished filming?
I don't think so. I think they've just been, doing their doing their things. I haven't heard anything other than, I know that John has had the film play at IU to a sold out crowd of students who are interested in things like traditional arts or in environment and things like that. So I think that's pretty cool that the next generation that's really going to be, working in these fields and doing something about the things that were,
Mhm.
addressed in the film. I think that's great that they're like interested in hearing about, stories like this and can then use that as they move forward into their careers to make an impact.
Very cool. And then keeping with that idea of audiences, how do you feel like the film's been received by audiences? And maybe part and parcel with that, like how has it been doing on the awards circuit? How's it been doing at film festivals?
Yeah, I think it's been received really well. I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit concerned with it being, a story about two older white gentlemen and, in this day and age when we want to hear so much, diversity and 100% understand that. But I think there is something about Larry and Danny that they're just so approachable and they're so they reminded me very strongly of my grandfather who was from southern Indiana throughout filming, and because of that I think people can really empathize with them, and they can really see in the film that the impact that is being made, and make that connection. So I've heard again from people that felt that they didn't at the beginning, they were like how thinking they weren't going to connect with them, and then by the end of the film they did connect with them and they were really like moved by their stories. So that was really great, and it's been playing in festivals. I particularly, I'm happy that it's playing around Indiana. And it won the Audience Choice Award for documentary short at Indie Film Fest this summer. So that
Congrats.
was really exciting. I got to attend that screening, and there were so many questions afterward during the Q&A, and it honestly made me so happy.
Oh, much deserved. I'm so happy for you and I'm happy to hear that.
Thanks.
Okay, final question then. What's next for this is a two-parter as well, so I cheated. What's next for this film and then what's next for you?
Yeah, so the Nutmakers is currently still playing the festival circuit, winding down a little bit. It is going to be available to stream on Hoodocs, I believe, starting this week or next week. So, by December you'll be able to stream it on Hoodocs, which is such a great platform that we're really fortunate to have here in Indiana. And then for me, I've got a couple of ideas percolating, some things in pre-production, but I'm currently still settling into my, new job with Bayonet, and excited to continue to find stability there, and then utilize my relationships with these extremely talented people that are now my coworkers and see what we can create together. And that is really exciting for me. And I love being able to support them on their personal, projects as well. So that's, yeah, where I'm at.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem. Happy.
Yeah, well, on behalf of myself and Hannah and then the entire team here at Indiana Humanities, I want to thank everybody else for tuning in for this interview. If you're interested in watching and learning more, please check out the remaining films and interviews on the Indiana Humanities YouTube channel. And lastly, I couldn't finish this moment off without thanking the Joe and Carol Trimmer Indiana Film Fund and then the Nina Mason Pulliam Charitable Trust for their support for this project. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here with Indiana Humanities.